And we are back with another episode of the Hockey Princess podcast. I am your host, the Hockey Princess. We have crusty old guy once again, guys. He's really annoyed that it's cold outside, but also still chooses to record outside so he can have a cigar because it's hockey season. Folks, just as a reminder, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, however you watch or listen to his ramble on a weekly basis. If you are going to a game this year, be it any hockey game at all, folks, please wait for the whistle. Do not get up while the puck's in play. And if you are going to a Blackhawk game, Bulls, anything at the United Center, really, highly recommend Su Taqueria El Rey del Taco over on Ogden. The food is great, the folks are great, and we basically live there. Christy, you having fun?
I'm having a good time now, but see, you've got to be able to understand all of this.
I understand nothing.
Okay, well, I went to a hockey game Monday in shorts.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have said goodbye to winter, and
That's a rookie mistake, Krusty. This is Chicago.
it's like I've never lived here before.
It's like you've never lived here. Folks, not only do we report on the Blackhawks, but we are in the Chicagoland area, so we are Midwest folks. And Krusty, that is just bad on you. Because we know we still have another 5 more weeks of this.
It is, but in full context, I didn't think it would be that bad.
I get it.
Then I walked the dog, and then I said, well, there's just no way I'm going to attempt to do this.
Yeah.
It's way too cold and it's snowing.
Yeah.
And then, the sun came out, and, it's part of my shtick.
That is true. That is very true.
So here we are. I've got an oversized hat now, and I might have gloves on for most of this. My dog is very upset and confused.
That is A-okay. Got a lot of things in the NHL scope because we talked a little bit prior to trade deadline. So we'll run through kind of a trade deadline recap and then some NHL stuff in the NHL world. So to recap some of the more notable trades, and Krusty, you can add on if there's any additional ones that I missed that you liked or maybe disliked or just surprised you, or just your thoughts on trade deadline.
Well, you better not miss anything. I wasn't prepared for this.
I have missed so many. That's why I said these are the most notable ones. You've got John Carlson to the Anaheim Ducks. You have Colton Dach, Jason Dickinson, Connor Murphy, all headed to the Edmonton Oilers. Nick Foligno is reunited with his brother Marcus with the Minnesota Wild. You have Nazem Kadri returning back to the Colorado Avalanche. Braden Shen headed to the New York Islanders. That one was a funny one because they were both staying at the same hotel, so he just had to go to a different floor to meet his new team. You have Lucas Reichel becoming a Boston Bruin, therefore a Providence Bruin. Corey Perry back with the Tampa Bay Lightning, so obviously somebody from the Western Conference is winning the Cup this year. You've got Stanley and the other Shen brother headed to Buffalo. Really could have used them against the Tampa game because, big bad Logan Stanley is definitely there for added protection for Rasmus Dahlin in Buffalo. But now they are there, so you've got Stanley and Shen headed to Buffalo and Connor Garland headed to the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Okay, I was looking at the trade tracker and couldn't find it, so what'd you
those
say?
are the most notable ones of the trade deadline.
Yes. Do you want to talk about that?
I don't know. I was just going to bring it up.
I'm trying to smoke with gloves.
It happened. I think I was right in that things were going to happen during trade deadline. I am not surprised that there weren't any blockbuster moves just because the 3 big words that were thrown out around trade deadline was per player review, because the amount of players that were dealt or were trying to be dealt that either had a no movement, no trade, 10-team list, a lot of contract things, which I'm all for. If you're that good of a hockey player to have that in your contract, utilize it, and you shouldn't have to go to places you don't want to go to. But I didn't think that there were going to be any major trades just because everybody that was rumored to be moved, there was a contract hang up.
Right, and there was one major move, and that came in at 2:59 and 30 seconds. So that was the Naz and Cadre deal. So,
which I love for Colorado. I love for Colorado. I
well,
love it for him.
it
I love
definitely
it.
makes him the favorite, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
So everything else, heard a lot of talk about the Connor Murphy one. I think we talked a little bit about that one.
It's still weird.
That it was a steal by the Hawks, and it just wasn't. The rest of
But
everything
we're
played out.
happy for them. Connor Murphy deserves to play playoff hockey, folks. We've been talking about that quite a bit for the past couple of weeks, as do the other veterans. I mean, really, everybody deserves to play playoff hockey.
True
They're
story.
NHL players. But you have Connor Murphy, who was previously with the Arizona Coyotes before he was dealt to Chicago in the Nicholas Hjalmarsson trade. You've been on two really bad teams. You deserve to play playoff hockey. And for the KD fans and the rebuilding fans and the general trolls of Twitter, it is expected that both Doc brothers will be in the postseason. And how is our rebuild actually going?
Wow. Well, yeah, the older Doc, he's now back down to the fourth line, so
Hey, he's playing.
he is playing.
He's playing. He's healthy. And both Doc brothers are going to be in the postseason. And where are we? Not.
Well, we're going to be watching the postseason.
Well, obviously.
Playing, watching, it's all relative. So, trust the process.
No. I trust nothing.
Yeah, that's the way you're supposed to be.
Yeah. Chris, you got anything else on trade deadline?
I don't believe so. Did we talk about the Carlson maneuver? That was
the first one that I mentioned. That was the big, I mean, I think it was big to them just because, I don't know, the Washington Capitals really don't deal their long-term players. They kind of do right by, not kind of, they typically do right by them. They kept TJ Oshie on IR and basically let him retire on his own accord. They've kind of just let everybody go, and they really have not traded major pieces or big names from the Washington Capitals. So I think it came as a shock just because that's usually not something that they do. I think it also surprised a lot of people with the time of day that it was announced, because it was announced at 1:15 in the morning, which seems a little odd. We all now know that Elliot Friedman just straight up never sleeps.
yeah.
But, he is a free agent next year. Does he go home? Is this it? I don't think this is it. But does he just, pop back? Is this basically a rental? We don't know.
Right. And, my take on it was Anaheim gave up an awful lot for a rental.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff, you're talking first round draft picks. That's the kind of stuff that you're expecting to advance because of this acquisition. And does it really move the needle as far as a playoff win? I don't think so. And now he's out, so.
Yeah.
But again, Anaheim, they're stepping up, saying that they're serious. And, they need...
I mean, good move or bad move, it's an actual move.
Correct.
Which is more than what some teams did.
That is correct. So, and yeah, there was just a lot of chatter, the constant trying to move people who have a full no movement clause.
Yeah.
So, and the rest, I like what Buffalo did too. They just got a little bit more physical and everything. And so, there you have it. I don't think it separates anybody all that much except for Colorado. That just, that's you're down the middle Brock Nelson, Nathan McKinnon, Nancy Condrey. Whoo, brother.
I think I do agree. I think the Colorado one just made like they're already a good team, and this just makes them even better. I think Buffalo's up there for me in terms of teams that I think did really well with the trade deadline because, as we've seen, not only with Malkin going after Darlene, but with Brandon Hagel going after Darlene, Buffalo severely lacks a physical aspect. And so you went and grabbed an absolute giant in Logan Stanley from the Winnipeg Jets. And getting, I think, a bit more physical doesn't necessarily, tilt the whatever on like their gameplay, but it definitely helps a giant hole that they had in their roster in terms of style of game.
Oh, definitely. And, it'll be playoff hockey, and so it's a different animal. And the Carrick kid that they also picked up
Yeah.
is a feisty,
Yeah.
not a heavyweight, but definitely a feisty, will drop the gloves, loves to agitate. So, they've positioned themselves a little bit to be ready for that jump to playoff hockey
Yeah.
where, everything kind of goes out the window and things get really nasty. So,
Yeah, it kind of made me think of like last year during the first round when Montreal was up against the Washington Capitals and everybody was like, Demidov this, Slav that, Caulfield that, and they got ragdolled physically. And you kind of figured that could have potentially been the case, and I mean, who knows, it still could be with Buffalo in the first round. But they've definitely, that's not really as much of a problem as it could have potentially been. Like, you could have been looking at that going into the first round with Buffalo if you don't have anything.
oh, definitely. And, Washington, who won't make the playoffs, yeah, there's a lot of big thumpers. In Tampa Bay, we know a lot of big thumpers. The East is a little nasty in places, and you have to be prepared for that. Of course, with Florida not being there, it'll be a little less nasty, but
You think Tampa's just happy to have a different first round opponent?
oh, I'm sure they are. Again, it's the classic. You've got to go through everybody anyways, but you'd like not to be tested like crazy right at the beginning, but then again,
There's always
ready.
one or two matchups where it's like this
Exactly.
could easily be the conference final.
right. So, and we can segue from draft to just teams, and
Yeah.
the funny part for the playoffs will be there'll be 15 teams that'll have a little section of their fan base from whatever city they're in. Besides those 15 teams, the whole rest of the map will be fans of the Buffalo Sabres.
Absolutely.
I don't see how anybody whose team did not make the playoffs doesn't hop on the Sabre bandwagon.
I am hopping on the wagon, the absolute wagon that is the Buffalo Sabres. Not only because, listen, I'm a big fan of Rasmus Dahlin. I think he has also had an absolute shit ass year, and I just like to see a little bit of good go his way. Krusty and I talk about sometimes you kick, sometimes you get kicked. I just like to see a little bit of time where Rasmus Dahlin isn't getting kicked. So I will be hopping on the Sabres wagon.
Yeah, I will be too. And as far as Darlene, obviously he's doing something because everybody and their mother is going after him. And I don't think it's just the point that they think they can get to him. Obviously, he's physical. He's throwing some cross checks. He's getting underneath people's skin. And,
Good.
that's all part of hockey.
Exactly.
So, that Tampa game was off the hook. We discussed beforehand about the Brandon Hagel thing, which I did not like after seeing it. The rest of it, I was more than fine with, but They talked about that building becoming electric and stuff like that. It brought me way back to, I believe it was, the Calgary game at the United Center, where it was the first time that you all of a sudden knew they were back, because the whole building stood up and cheered through the whole TV timeout. It didn't stop. Nobody went to sit down. It was like, oh my goodness, all of this pent up stuff came out. And I would assume it was that kind of day for the Sabres fans, where
Was
it's just...
that the Calgary game that you're referring to? Is that the one where Iginla, after the game, was like, these kids aren't showing me any respect?
I think
Respect your elders.
I think that was during the playoffs. I think this was just a regular season
This
game.
was just regular season. Okay.
Yeah, and I could be wrong about Calgary.
Okay, because I just distinctly remember.
No, that
like
was in
09.
their first round, and that was the 09
Respect your
stuff
elders.
where it was just they were a mouthy group, and that was led by 88 had a knack. Because he was just a smaller player and wouldn't get physical, but he'd jab at the people behind their knees and mouth off like, and he was very hated. Very, very hated, because he was also that guy that would poke, and then run away and let somebody else handle his dirty work. But yes, Iginla did come out and say that, there is...
They don't respect me. Respect your elder. That was the funniest thing I remember hearing about that entire matchup.
Yes, and you're not supposed to respect anybody once the playoff starts. You do not.
Right.
So I just wanted to bring that up about Buffalo, because I think that'll be interesting, because I don't see anybody else going, no, I'd much rather root for this team, even though my team's... I just see everybody on the Buffalo bandwagon.
Buffalo Wagon. Couple of other NHL things. We've got a massive contract extension coming out of Utah with former Blackhawk legend Nick Schmaltz with an 8x8 contract extension. Good for him.
Are you kidding me?
No?
How old is Nick Schmaltz?
We are checking.
Here we go, asking questions that neither of us know the answer to, which is, again...
Sorry that I don't... He's 30.
Right, so he's all the way to 38. Again, everybody's going for that style, the Marchman thing or whatever else, and just pushing it...
Who cares?
Right, I mean, because you have the possibility that on the next collective bargaining agreement, you could have a complete buyout period where maybe you could get rid of 2 or 3 of these contracts. So everybody's trying to find their angle.
I would really find it funny is if we have another situation where everybody loses their mind and does all these contracts and then the cap doesn't go up much.
Yes, that would be bad. But, no, it's going up at least for a little bit. They have sold their soul to sports betting and everything else. And if you watch any game right now, it's become too much for the fact that I have a frigging electronic board that flashes stuff and goes all over the place. And then another 4 things plastered here and there. I understand that I just sound old and crusty.
No, I hate it too. I mean, we've talked about our opinions on sports betting on the show before. We're not big fans of it. I don't get the point of it.
Yeah, but a lot of people do, and again, it's not just that. It's just they're the ones really willing to throw out huge advertising dollars, and it's just everywhere, and that's what's fueling most of this.
Yeah.
Between your TV contracts, and it's not that much that everybody's watching. It's just they're able to plaster so much stuff there.
Yeah.
So I don't see that being a problem, at least for a couple of years. But again, you never know. Fans are a fickle thing, and what people all of a sudden like or dislike is kind of fickle. It's just with hockey, usually everybody's already sold their soul within their second or third year of watching the sport. So
That is
they
true.
do have that for them.
And then, folks, we had another interesting matchup last night. Colorado Avalanche versus the Edmonton Oilers. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hockey Princess, why are you bringing up this Western Conference matchup that we really don't particularly care about, aside from the fact that I'd love to watch Connor Murphy and Colton Dock? Because I know we have a really big question that goes around, it's kind of the running joke, of what is goaltender interference. And guys, we had a prime example of what goaltender interference was by Nathan MacKinnon running through Connor Ingram at the end of the second period. He did get a 5-minute major, game misconduct. There were a lot of people defending Nathan MacKinnon, heavy broadcasting bias. There was defending by coach and players, which obviously you're going to suspect or expect. Guys, running through the goaltender is not okay. It's kind of a douchebag move. I mean, that is the definition of goaltender interference.
Yeah, I guess people were saying, he was a little push. They got a tiny bit tangled up, but he's making a beeline for him.
He's already going anyways, whether or not Darnell Nurse is back
Yes,
there.
he's
or
hitting
not,
him
it makes
whether
no
Nurse
difference.
comes into the play or not. Unless you think all of a sudden, with his cape on, he was going to fly over Connor Ingram. Okay? He wasn't stopping and going out the other. No, this was going to happen no matter what. It was complete disregard. Everybody says respect the game, this and that. And MacKinnon will be the same one when somebody flies up on him and hits him in the head. He'll talk about you need to respect and lay up. Well, it's a two-way street. Yeah, at least from the little bit of video that I saw, that's goaltender interference. That's blatant.
That's so like there's no, because we've had instances, a couple of years when Alex Stalock got absolutely waylaid against the Islanders with Cizikas. Stalock was outside of the blue paint, and so everybody's kind of like, well, Ingram could not be more inside the blue paint, truly exactly where he's supposed to be, in front of the net, in the blue paint, doing his job, and MacKinnon just sideline runs through him. It's just, I don't know. One, I mean, it's a rare occurrence for me to be agreeing with the ref, friends. I don't know how you can see another way around it. Like, it was just the most blatant run through.
Yeah, because that wasn't a heavy cross check that pushed him into him.
Right.
It had nothing to do with that. So I can only assume that basically they decide, or MacKinnon figures, once he makes that cut towards the goaltender, he's untouchable.
Right.
Well, that's not hockey. And also, even with him probably not even being touched, he was still going to take his head off. So, yeah, again, you send messages. That's two big boy teams sending big boy messages. They won't see each other again for a while. Whatever. I mean, the right call was made. Let me put it that way.
Absolutely. So. And I don't think anything's been released today in terms of if Connor Ingram, like how Connor Ingram's doing, but I hope he's doing okay, because that looked nasty. I mean, I understand hockey's a fast sport, hockey's a nasty sport, but like that was still a nasty run through, so I hope Ingram's doing well.
Yeah, and you have to protect your goaltenders a little bit.
Absolutely.
I'm all for it. If we can't protect them, then put back in the steel pipes into the net so the net never moves. And then let me see if MacKinnon's going to make that kind of blatant stuff right by the net with the fear of falling into it and that net not giving. So, all right, I've talked enough about it. But, yeah, the right call was made. It's over. It's done.
Yep.
As we always say, it's a very fast game.
Yes.
So, shit happens.
That is true. Christy, you got anything else in the NHL scope?
I thought I did. I've already forgotten it.
All right. Well, we can jump back to it if you remember.
Okay.
Prospect report. We've got a lot. We've got 3 goals with Jack Pridham out of the Kitchener Rangers, 3 assists for AJ Spellacy with the Windsor Spitfires, 2 assists and 1 goal for Merrick Vanaker with the Brantford Bulldogs. Roman Kansaroff is standing at 61 points in 60 games in the KHL. 1 goal for Anton Frendel this week. Nothing for Vaclav Nestrassel with UMass. However, this upcoming Saturday starts Hockey East's quarterfinals, which he is playing in. So nothing this past weekend, but big game for UMass this upcoming Saturday. As well as we've got 1 assist with John Mustard out of Providence College. Providence College also begins the quarterfinals with Hockey East Saturday, March 14th as well. You've got 2 goals and 1 assist for Nathan Bem out of the Kamloops Blazers. 2 wins for Adam Guyon against St. Cloud State this past weekend, putting his save percentage at .906. Krusty, you had something.
I didn't. I was just making fun of myself in the camera. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. No worries. And then finally, we've got a point and a little bit of drama. 1 assist with Sasha Boisvert for Boston University. And he is a healthy scratch this evening for possibly Boston University's last game. There is rumors, a lot of rumors and rumblings, a lot of loud voices of either, big Boston fans, angry Nodak fans. There's just a lot of noise around Sasha right now. He didn't have the greatest sophomore year. We can see that by the stat sheet. I'd also like to remind everybody that he was hurt for a decent point of this year, or a big portion of this year. So obviously it's not going to reflect in the stat sheet. There's rumors and rumblings that, he's not the best locker room presence. The fight wasn't taken that well by coaching in Boston. We don't know. It's a lot of noise. Part of me is like, I really don't care. I just want to see him in Chicago. I don't care.
Well, yeah, and even if there's questions here, there, everywhere, he's just a child. You have no idea what that's going to become. Just like anybody else that you think might be perfectly right on. You don't know what that's going to become either.
Right.
So it really doesn't matter. I understand some of the noise. Again, as we all know, BU is a big-time program that is having a very off year. And if we learn anything, it's number one, I got to find a whipping boy. I got to find somebody to blame. So I'm sure there's that kind of voices too. And this does it. Maybe this is just a motivating thing. Who knows? Maybe it's the fact that they know he's coming out. Like you said.
Right.
You really have no idea.
Yeah. I think there's just a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of angry Nodak fans because for folks who don't know, Sasha was with University of North Dakota last year for his freshman year and then entered the transfer portal to go to BU for his sophomore year, then was hurt, and now there's a lot of angry Boston fans. So there's just a lot of people that don't like Sasha.
Yeah, and, that's the hope. We hope when he gets to the NHL, there's a lot more people that don't like him. That's what we're kind of looking for from him.
Yeah. So, but that is all we've got for prospects. Krusty, any other thoughts?
I'll let you know.
You ready for Anton Frendel to get here?
No, not that, but I have started to do my first bit on the draft. So I actually...
This is early for you, guys. This is showing how bad the big club is doing.
No, because I've done it earlier because there was nothing to watch. So, but I was hoping to get through towards the end of the season. But yes, I have started to peruse it quickly right now. That's all.
Any?
I got nothing still for you.
No. Any initial, who are you What are you perusing right now? For
No, the
folks
only
that are
thing
also,
I looked at
new
is
to
there's
the
a
draft.
couple players on the top, and then there's a shitload of defensemen, and that frightens me. And after that, I kind of stopped my deep dive. I wanted to dive more into forwards, and then I said another time. So that's really been about it. But I have looked, so
Have
let
you
you know I'm almost ready to start.
Krusty, are you looking at the Brantford kid?
Well, yeah, we got to look at the Brantford kid. You
Katie
got to look at the
probably has a
Lawrence.
second home
You got to
in
look at the
Brantford.
Lawrence kid too, right? It's so that's the only spot where I'm at. I'm like, oh, God, if we're like 5 or 6, we can't take a defenseman, can we?
No.
And I will point out to the people that I talk to and this and that who were constantly telling me that if the Blackhawks picked number 1 last year, that they would be taking a defenseman. I just want to tell them again, you guys were all right. Yes, he was definitely a player that you couldn't pass up, whether you had 2 or 3 defensemen.
Right.
That's all.
Chrissy, for your beginning of perusing, might I throw at you, because why not, the 6'3" Finnish centerman?
Sure.
Just take a look. 6'3".
I like
Oliver
6'3".
Centerman. Playing centerman.
I like centerman.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of smaller-ish people who play all over the place.
6'3". Centerman.
Yeah,
Guys, if
that's
you can't
nice.
tell, I have the strong Finnish bias. This guy could easily be the Florida pick.
Yeah. Yes. Very well could be. So yeah, I haven't. But yes, that's in the wheelhouse. Big-bodied centerman. Yes, I like it.
Incredible. Yeah, that's all that we've got for prospects. Rockford, very, very short. We've got a split, 1 win, 1 loss. We do have a trade that happened at the trade deadline, but it was at the AHL level. Aiden Thompson was traded to the Hartford Wolfpack, which is the New York Rangers AHL affiliate. And then we have acquired Derek Palau. I think that's how you pronounce his name. It's French.
Oui,
It
oui.
makes sense. I mean, Thompson didn't have the best year. You're looking for a little bit more of vets on the defensive end just because through injury, trade deadline, call up, you really don't have much in the defensive end down in Rockford. Really don't have a lot of anything. Thanks, Kyle. But it kind of makes sense if you're a little bit more forward heavy in Rockford, swap out for a D-man. But they came away with a split, and then we've got a Nick Lardis call up with the big club.
Yeah, I think we're about done with Rockford.
But I'll still report on.
Right, I know you will, but yeah.
I'll report more when Savvy's back.
But there's not going to be any playoffs probably, and there's just really not
Thanks, Kyle.
of anything. This is his plan.
Is it?
Well, if it's not his plan, then he didn't do things properly.
Is this a plan? Is it a plan? Because it's starting to,
Yeah, it's looking like something
like
that
a
was
plot.
willy-nilly put together and worried about, blocking people, which to this day I still don't quite understand.
Nope.
Most people I know take jobs. There's no blocking, they take the frigging job. And it's impossible to stay up here. And again, as far as everybody who came from Rockford, there wasn't one person yet that I've seen that took a job. I don't believe Oliver Moore took a job where I just went, oh my God, I need him on the ice. Nope. Nick Lardis? Nope. Yes.
He has technically still not played any minutes in Rockford whatsoever, but he did take a job in October. I would argue that you're gangrene took a job.
Yes, but yes, he did not even
Yeah.
set foot into Rockford. Yes, that's ideally that's what you say. He took a job.
Yeah.
You sat there and watched and went, oh shit. Yeah, he can play with
Gangrene.
everybody. As far as the rest of them, no. I understand that all of them were as fast. I know Nick Lardass has a big time shot.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's nothing wrong with waiting 2 more years for Nick Lardass to come to the NHL as he gets bigger and can handle people on his body more. But that's not the plan. Hey, far be it from me.
We
you
say
bring up-
this, guys, and then we go back to, we'd much rather watch the kids anyway.
Exactly. I mean, so, who's two-faced now?
Us.
But yeah, I mean, so there you have it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's just my point was nobody really took anything. I mean, Gangrene did, and that was about it.
Yeah. Big club.
Yep.
We've got games to talk about. Some good, some not. Do we like Utah now? Is the question. Let's see. Where are we starting off from?
You're gonna figure that out. I gotta go, and I'll be right back.
Oh, he's probably gonna let back in Rutu the Wonder Dog. All right. We have a couple. Starting off, Vancouver game that was really a should win and a must win and a why didn't we win. First home game back after the Olympic break. It did not go well at all. At all. That was just overall to be played just some very uninterested hockey from the jump. Basically kind of handed the first period to the Canucks on a platter, for lack of a better word. But no, that was how in the world are we losing to Vancouver right now? So I don't know what was going on. A whole lot of nothing.
I am really sorry about that. That is like the rudest thing we can do in this show.
What?
But I just leave you. But I had to let the dog in. She's been out in the
No,
cold.
that's what I figured. That's what I told the listeners.
Oh! I hope the listeners will forgive me.
Yeah.
And you were just talking about the Vancouver game, right?
Yeah, Vancouver. How did we lose? That was supposed to be we should win this. We can win this. Because, guys, we've beaten Vancouver.
Well,
But
they're
then
the
we
worst team in
didn't.
the league.
Yeah.
And we lost to them. That's really bad at the end of the
Although,
day.
I would like to, because it was Bloom and Net for Vancouver game, correct? Yes, it was. Yes, it
Yes.
was. I would like to correct the Chicago Blackhawk post-game broadcasters. Arvid Soderblom let in 3, not 6, 3, maybe 4.
4.
4. He let in 4, not 6.
Yes. 2 of them were empty netters. So.
Yes, it's not all Arvid's fault.
No, and then again, he's another one that is really, at least the people I talk to, is on the number 1 list. Him and Artie are seem to be the whipping boys, and I'm sorry, Spencer Knight's not winning that game. Nobody's winning that game. You go back and watch the film on that. Vancouver was allowed to parade down the middle of the ice in the offensive zone constantly. You can't win hockey games like that. So,
No.
they weren't ready. It was crap from everyone. So, just kind of disappointing. I mean, I don't ever predict a victory, and I did when I was walking to my seat and had to apologize to people saying, obviously, we're still not very good.
Yeah, that was just I don't know where the head was at. You're because obviously, you have a little bit of a road trip. We have the Olympic break. The boys are back out on the road. You figure you get some sort of extra juice, pep in your step. Like you're finally home. It's not another road game.
Yeah.
So you think maybe this is like, and you don't play an awful your last road game. It's not because I know that they'll, sometimes go into the mentality where it's like they have one really bad game the night before and it's hard, not the night before, but the game before, and it's hard to swing out of it. Like you came away against Winnipeg with a point, which is still sad. Um, but it's not like you got absolutely smoked your last game. And so, but yeah, it wasn't Bloom's fault. It wasn't Artie's fault. That being big time Artie defender. Now that we're back from the Olympics, um, there were definitely some younger kids that I think seemed a little bit out of their depth, and I'm not going to put the blame on them because I don't play hockey, and who am I to blame an 18, 19-year-old that from my eye isn't getting that much development. I'm throwing that more on Jeff and the crew. Um, but yeah, it was just bad all around.
Yeah. It was, and again, we're coming to that point in time now in the season where
Nothing matters.
yeah, and you won't be able to take away a lot.
Yeah.
It's just we're coming to those last 20, those last 15 where everything's just kind of jumbled. You're going to play teams that aren't playing, they're already on the golf course, just so. But either way, it was, as I said, a pathetic display of just letting everybody in front of the net, letting them skate down the middle of the ice, and then when they were in front of the net, nobody's getting sticks on sticks or anything else. So,
No.
yeah.
Dallas. Chris, what were your thoughts on the Stars game?
I thought it was better. I thought it was better. Still, some of the same kind of problems. Granted, people can say, it's a game they should have won, another lost lead. Well, that's a team that's much better than them. And the Hawks have shown they don't know how to hold on to a lead yet. So, I thought things were better. Mm-hmm. You brought it to overtime.
You take a point?
I'll take a point anytime against Dallas. We seem to play Dallas okay, don't we?
Yeah.
I mean, not as well as we play Utah, but
Yeah, we got Utah's number.
I thought Renzel played pretty good, offensively. And Connor Bedard's Connor Bedard. I mean, we get to overtime just through his shot. I really have enjoyed the way he's played lately. And just his feistiness.
Yeah.
The next step is it's time to hold everybody else in that locker room accountable. And next year, I think it's time to get out of the friend zone. And it's time to play NHL hockey. And what I mean by that is, Connor, if these kids aren't, there's no, it's the product on the ice now. If people aren't stepping up, it's going to be your job to let them know that they're not stepping up. So good luck with that. Like you don't have enough pressure. But yeah, I thought it was definitely a lot better than the Vancouver game. So. And, defensively, there was hiccups. I thought all the young D-men did what they've kind of done. There's glimpses, and then there's some rough spots, and there's some decent play in between. So they're getting minutes, they're learning.
Yeah. Then we have Utah.
Yeah.
Which was great. Very great. Just so nice. One, a lot of people have, the hockey trolls are going to do what the hockey trolls do. A lot of people have been voicing their complaints about one Andrei Burakovsky for quite a bit and his lack of performance. They've been chirping Jeff for why is Burakovsky on the top line and Nick Lardis or whomever is not on the top line. Like, obviously something's not working on the top line. I still don't think something's working on the top line, but I will give him a little bit of grace for this moment. You finally get an Andre Burakovsky goal. You could tell from the visible reaction that, gosh, it felt just so good for that to happen, because obviously he's been going through a bit of a struggle just on ice. So that was good. That also continued with Frank Nazar finally getting a goal, because that's just been a hot minute. I turned to Krusty probably at some point during the third period. I'm like, I need a little bit more from Frank. Like, I think Frank needs one. Frank needs something to go in the net. And it did. Good for him. You had
Yes,
Oliver
after
Moore.
he fumbled a breakaway.
Hey, that doesn't matter. As long as the puck goes in, I don't care. Now, my memory is blurry, even though it was only a couple of days ago.
Oh,
Was it the Utah game or the Vancouver game when Oliver Moore finally cut down the center?
I thought that
We
was
had
the
that
game
this week.
before.
That's a celebration.
Yes, that was a celebration for me. I can't remember exactly what game that was.
It's very
I
important,
believe
guys.
it was the Vancouver game where, I finally saw him with all of his blinding speed decide he could do more than skate really fast and then skate to the boards.
Yep.
He skated in the middle, and it causes problems. If any of you don't believe me, watch McDavid play. That's the first thing he does with his speed, is you cut to the middle and draw people. That's the name of the game.
I mean, gosh, you even see Connor doing it. Like, he gets absorbed very quickly, but there's still the intention to cut to the center.
Because it's a danger area, and number one, then people try to commit
Well, they make
to
them
stopping him.
move.
Right. They
You're
come
forcing
in,
them
and
to
that
make a
means somebody
decision.
else is open.
Yeah.
So, that was nice to see more of that. That won't be this year, unfortunately, but
Yeah, that is, heart goes out to Oliver Moore. There is no timeline. I imagine, if I'm just guessing on pure speculation, that he's shut down completely. If I'm Jeff, I'm shutting him down completely, because between the injury and between like the lack of us doing anything for the end of the year and the new pieces that are coming in, that upper management is going to have a field day, fluffing about, what's the point?
yeah. And again, Galaxy Trash pointed this out, is, the worst thing you want to see from your guy whose biggest calling card is his speed, to have a knee injury. So let's hope this all goes okay. But yeah, I don't know why we have Utah's number, but we do.
Okay, we got somebody's.
And, the old shiny new thing that comes our way, and you now have the tiny little Majidapani, at least acting like he cares and sticking his nose in there, and maybe the rest of the players could take something from this. Hockey's not just about coming to the defense of somebody.
Yeah.
It's sometimes about being proactive and maybe stirring things up a little bit, which this team lacks. So I thought it was a really fun game from him, and he was able to get a goal, just using a body part, but still,
Hey,
it
a goal
counts.
is a goal. I would also like to shout out one of my favorite prospects. I thought Drew Comesso played great against Utah. I know we talked a little bit post-Utah game, and you haven't seen much, but I think if you compare the small call-ups that he had last year to the small call-ups that he's had this year, it's better. He is going in a forward motion in terms of his development, and that's really all that I care about seeing. We talk on the show all the time that goaltenders are weird. Their development and their path is going to look a lot different than Nick Lardis or Artie or Sam. They are going to take longer. It's going to look different. But It's going forward, and that's what matters.
Yeah, I thought Drew looked good. The whole Drew situation will be something interesting for the offseason. I don't know what the plan is for next year. My thought process has changed on that now. If we're just going to be garbage down in Rockford, which seems like that's the plan, as long as these kids are relatively close, they're going to come up, and that leaves you with nothing down in Rockford, then I'm all for, if Drew beats out Soderblom, you send Soderblom down, and somebody claims him, somebody claims him. But I have no problem with Drew on the big club backing up next year.
Drew.
I would much rather him stay another year in Rockford and continue to work through some things, and again, grow a winning culture. But I think that car's already left. There's no growing a winning culture with these kids. That's going to need to be figured out on the major league, in the NHL.
Which is unfortunate.
Some of these things are just timing, and the timing went a little wacky, I think, just because they got Connor Bedard. I think the game plan was just to be really bad for like 4 or 5 years before any of the kids even came up, because who cares? And he kind of strained that because all of a sudden the place is full.
How do you have, I'm calling shenanigans. How do you have a fire sale and not expect to get Connor?
Because they weren't the worst team in the league.
Right, but
They were the third worst. You figured you were getting Fantilli.
But you figure you have a fire sale. The intention is to be bad. So how is that not something in the back of your head like, oh, this might happen? Gary Bettman might rig this for us because he loves an original 6 market versus a newer market.
Well, I think, it's in the back of your mind. But as you go into this, your odds are about like 10%. That
Right,
you're
and
going
I'm thinking if you're not looking at every odd and not just the biggest number, that's silly.
Right, but I think you start in figuring you're not going to, and you're not making plans that you're going to, because that's also very silly because the odds are not in your favor. I understand that it did happen, but I think that was kind of the game plan. I'm unsure. Maybe it was never a plan for them to ferment down in Rockford. Maybe that was just Krusty's plan. What good
plan, Krusty.
What is, I'm just sitting out here, guy in gloves, trying to smoke a cigar out in the cold, talking on a podcast. So I don't know. But getting back to what I was talking about.
With that being said.
Yes, with that being said, I love that line. Gosh, I could just give him full credit all the time for that. You're just spewing lies when you go, with that being said. I've got no problem where Drew makes the leap next year. Just because it's not going to be any prettier in Rockford. You might as well just bring him up, and if Bloom's collateral damage. I don't care. I like Arvid, and I don't have the hate or think he's as bad of a goaltender as everybody else does.
I think he deserves a lot more credit than he's ever been given at the big club level.
But he's not in our plans.
No.
And again, like we talked about with the other project, it's not like Arvid said, oh, I'm in your plans because look at what I'm doing. He's had some really phenomenal games, but he's never completely taken that position where you're like, oh, well, that's our only option because he's playing so well. So, it would be probably good for Drew to learn under Knight. Everything that I hear about his preparation and everything else is top notch. He learned from the Bob, so might all work out.
Got to learn from.
Yeah. I think that's about all I had. It was good to get a win. I think they'll be scarce.
Yep.
So,
But it's okay because Guys Krusty's already started looking at draft stuff.
Yeah, I'll start diving into that more and more, unless, the weather completely breaks and we can start golfing and everything else, and then that'll take up a lot of my time. But then, in another 5 weeks, we'll have playoff hockey, so.
Heck yeah. All right, that's all I've got for this week.
That's,
So,
that's all I got.
all right, folks, just as a reminder, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, however you watch or listen to us ramble on a weekly basis. If you are going to a hockey game this season, any game at all, please wait for the whistle. Do not get up all the pucks and play. The bathroom will still be there, the food will still be there, and the beer will still be there. If you are going to a Blackhawk game or a Bulls game or really anything at the United Center year round, highly recommend Su Taqueria El Rey del Taco over on Ogden. The food is great. The folks are great. It's only a couple of blocks away from the UC, and
It's all
we
great.
basically live there. So that is all, and we will talk at you guys next week.